Welcome back, guys, and today we are going to quickly look at the difference between a structural, molecular, and condensed structural formula. Let's look at this very simple example, propanone. So we know the name ends with an "-one", so we know it's a ketone. And if I draw it, first we're going to look at the structural formula. So the structural formula is actually like the Cooper structure. Remember in grade 11 we drew the Lewis structure of different molecules, and then, for example, instead of actually drawing the dots and the crosses, we replace them with a stripe to represent a bond. So the structural formula is basically the Cooper structure of the molecule. So it shows you exactly which atoms are bonded to which other atoms, and we do that using a stripe to represent a bond. So we know a ketone has to have the carbon-oxygen double bond in the chain somewhere. It can't be at the end, otherwise it's an aldehyde. So I draw my 3 carbons because that means there should be 3 carbons in the chain, and then I draw the oxygen double bond here, and then I just fill up all the other places where my carbon isn't bonded, doesn't have 4 bonds, with hydrogen. So for example here it only has 1 bond, so I need 3 other bonds, and I bond it to my hydrogens. This carbon already has 4 bonds, so I'm going to skip that one and then just fill up this carbon with 3 other bonds like there. So this is the structural formula. Now the condensed structural formula, it's like the name says, it's condensed. So it's a shorter way of writing the structural formula. So we don't show all the bonds that there are, but we omit the bonds, but we still show you which atoms are bonded to which atoms. So, and this is the one the students struggle with the most. So I'm going to break it up for you guys. So you write it from one carbon to the next carbon. So we start with this carbon here at the beginning. So here's a carbon that's bonded to 3 hydrogens. We always write the carbon first and then the other atoms that it's bonded to. So that represents that part of the molecule over there. Now I move on to the next carbon, which is this carbon over here. So again, I first need to write the carbon and then the other atoms it's bonded to. So in this case, it's only bonded to oxygen. So I write the oxygen. Then I'm finished with that carbon and all its bonds. Then I move on to this carbon over here. Let's choose a different color. So that carbon is bonded to 3 hydrogens. So that's basically the condensed structural formula. You still show which atoms are bonded to which atom. So I know, for example, this carbon is bonded to an oxygen and 2 different carbons, or 2 carbons at the ends of it, on the sides of it, and then the oxygen double bond. So you just omit the bonds over there. And last but not least, we have our molecular formula, and this is the formula that you've been used to all throughout chemistry. And this formula just tells you the number of each different atom there is in my molecule. So for example, I look at carbon first and I say there are 1, 2, 3 carbons. And then I look at the next next type of atom from a different element. I look at my hydrogens, for example. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hydrogens. So I write the hydrogen and 6. And then lastly, I have an oxygen, and there's only 1. But we don't drawer one over there. So this is the one you're used to. We have no idea how this molecule looks. We only know the types of atoms there are and how many there are of them. So this is basically the difference between structural, condensed, and molecular. Please, guys, when they give you a question in your exam paper, make sure you know whether they're asking for structural, condensed, or molecular, because if they ask you to write the structural formula and you give the molecular formula, you're going to get 0 marks for that one. So I hope this video helped you guys, and please give it a like if you found it helpful and subscribe.